Dr. Anthony Lempert from Shropshire Division, speaking against the motion.
Chair. RB. Who would oppose unequivocal protection from forced genital cutting? Not me. It sickens me to challenge this motion, but if passed, this would be opposing just that. Cutting, pricking the genitals of a healthy child is a serious violation of her basic rights, period. It may also cause serious harm and death. So why, RB, the selective harm comparison? Is it that the misery of a rectovaginal fistula or maternal death somehow outrank the mortal genital injuries sustained by Angelo Afori-Minta or Goodluck Cowbergs? What about the 11 babies in 2011 alone admitted to the paediatric intensive care unit at Birmingham Children's Hospital as a direct result of infant male genital cutting, which is invariably non-therapeutic and which permanently removes functional, erogenous, intimate tissue from people too young to consent or resist? BMA policy states discrimination in any form must be eliminated in the NHS. RB, the violation of physical integrity is not gender-specific. Its many forms should be tackled together. This motion would discriminate against boys and intersex people. I know that many here care about this as well, but fear a backlash. Well, let's grow some cojones rather than looking away. Irreversible, non-therapeutic excisional surgery on the body of any non-consenting person must not be condoned by the BMA. Let's take child safeguarding as seriously as does the Council of Europe, every one of the Scandinavian Children's Ombudsman, the German Paediatric Society, our sister organisations in Holland, who are united in calling all forms of non-therapeutic forced genital cutting a violation of a person's basic right to autonomy and physical integrity.
Last sentence, please, Anthony.
If you must pass this motion, please pass it as a reference. It is an important motion, but it really is wrong as it stands. Thank you, RB.
John Fitton from East Midlands Regional Council, speaking against the STEM and Little Part 1. John.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, RB. I am speaking against the STEM Part 1 because this motion discriminates. It is downright sexist, and I don't think we want the BMA to be labelled sexist by the press. Why did the Agenda Committee choose this motion above the East Midlands Council motion 343 or indeed the Shropshire motion 344? The billions of normal, uncut world population would think it absurd that we are even debating this in our tiny, tolerant island, let alone qualifying the phrase genital mutilation with the word female. FGM, MGM, all GM is a violation. I was over 50 before I saw my first case of a screaming infant after mutilation at one of the cutting clinics that have sprung up in our shire counties. They trade on the primitive customs of our Eastern and Sub-Saharan immigrants. It is disgraceful that the General Medical Council turns a blind eye to this trade. And what a profitable bloody trade it is too. And I use the word bloody to remind you of the occasional child which bleeds to death. This cutting trade has no place in our profession, and any doctor who is profiting from it should be ashamed. And be warned, if molestation can be prosecuted after 40 years, so might mutilation. You might think this unreasonable, as mutilation in some cultures has been the status quo for centuries, but then so has slavery, and those who opposed it were also thought to be unreasonable. Sexism has been the norm until recently, and those who spoke for women were also disapproved of. So civilization is a slow process, but please, speed it up a bit. If you can't bring yourself to vote against, vote to abstain until a motion is selected without the word female. Please send a message to the Agenda Committee to choose a more civilised and gender-neutral motion next year. Please either abstain from this sexist motion or vote against. Thank you.
Female genital mutilation is, as one of the speakers said, indeed an abomination. This motion goes beyond our existing policy and welcomely so because it states quite clearly that the focus should be on education, training and support, and indeed the proposer of the motion said that very, very firmly. There have been a couple of calls for Part 3 to be taken as a reference. I'm going to ask the RB to reject Part 3, and to reject it because I believe, and I think the Chair of the Ethics Committee will explain, how it is ethically dubious. We've already heard that we lack any evidence to counter the potentially and actually ethically dubious nature of compulsory intimate genital examination, which is essentially what this would have to have in order to be implemented, and it's the wrong mechanism to take forward finding out more information. We can find out more information without necessarily taking this as a reference. Thank you, Chair.
Chair of the Medical Ethics Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll just remind the RB this motion is about female genital mutilation. Whatever the rights and wrongs of a broader debate, we are considering this motion here today.
So I understand the point made by the second speaker, but I reiterate that this motion is regarding FGM and FGM alone. Male circumcision can have a place if clinically indicated, however, FGM has no place at all. I do not accept for this to be taken as a reference.